At Cutest, we put your baby's health and happiness first. We are an online baby boutique based in Nassau. We have searched far and wide to provide you with unique products and exquisite gifts that will please modern parents looking for all natural, safe, and unique alternatives to what can be found locally. Quantities are limited, so don't delay. You've come to the right place. Visit us at cutest.com. We'll be waiting on you.
Hi everyone, welcome to Let's Chat. And you might see or notice something a little different. I am Apryl Sands, and today I'm going to be hosting Let's Chat with a special guest. Who else would I have on the couch other than the creator of the show, Tonya Lightbourne?
Thanks.
So today we're going to be doing something a little different because it's Mother's Day. We wanted to get to know you because, of course, you do all this work. You interview all these people.
Yeah.
And now it's your turn. We want to know a little bit about you. Are you ready?
I think so. I mean, most women are born ready, right?
Oh, I like that attitude.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is so true.
Yeah.
So let's start off, first of all, with not your babies just yet.
Right.
Let's start off with this baby.
Right.
Let's Chat. Right? Is that, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's Chat. Tell me a little bit about the show and how this came to be.
Well, definitely, it definitely came about in a pandemic, right? At the start of the pandemic. And funny enough, so we're celebrating 1 year, or by the time this airs, we would have celebrated 1 year. And we were just at the top of the pandemic, just at the start, and we were all home. We were all uncertain what was about to happen. We were afraid. And so, I felt like, who better to talk to than women? Because let's just face it, like, we control most of the household, we take care of everything. And so at one point we knew that we were this, we're home. This is where we are. We didn't know whether we were going to be let out for air, like if we were going to go by our neighbors or see our parents or whatever anymore. And so it was like, if I feel this way, I know lots of mothers feel this way, whether they're single, married, divorced, whatever. I knew that, they felt some sort of way about it. And I felt like, this would be a great way to create community. I didn't think about it quite that way back then. I just wanted to talk. And going live was like a thing online, on Instagram, on Facebook. And so I said, you know what? This is a platform. And I wanted to grow my following. And so more than anything, it was just, look, mothers, like, we out here, we have to do this. We don't know how to do it. It was parenting times 10, right? Yeah. Or times 100, because we just didn't know which way to maneuver. Pivoting wasn't even a thing yet, because we were very uncertain. And so I thought, well, let's do this. And so literally I started a list of women that I'd want to interview, or, that I just like to have a part of this passion project. I prayed about it. I spoke to my husband about it. And so it was like everything just aligned. And it was like, okay, go. And so really the only thing that I had to do was organize where the kids would go. And obviously that was outside. So it was almost like, okay, let's do it. So I chose a date, chose a time, chose some women who I would start to speak with initially. And then it just snowballed. Like, it kept going. So I started April. And then I said, okay, maybe I'll do this until summer. And then summer came and summer went. And then more and more women, like more and more people kept tuning in. And then I got more and more requests to be on. Wow. And then a media partner jumped on, which is Bahama Handprints. Wow. And then Christmas came. And I said, okay, great. So I did this for 8 months. It's time.
Do you know how many episodes?
I interviewed at the end of 2020, I'd interviewed 41 women.
Whoa.
And so that pretty much, it was like every Friday for at least 7 to 8 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Christmas came, and it was like, okay, not the end, but like a break. I didn't know what would happen because we weren't sure what would happen.
Yes.
And then things started to open up, and we started to see kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel. And then January came, and it was like, or February, and it was like, okay, we want to continue partnering. Like, what are we? We're ready to jump on board. When are you ready to go? And I was like, well, okay, let's go then. Yeah.
And I love the title, Let's Chat. It's like, just like the attitude, and hearing about you talk about how you came up with the show seems like it was just as energetic.
Very
let's
organic.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And that's it's that organic feel. Let's just chat.
Yeah.
And that's what the show has been.
Yeah.
So 41 women.
Yeah.
What have you learned?
Oh gosh.
From 41 women.
Oh.
Collectively. What is the one thing that you have learned?
I think for sure that as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, you just have to give yourself grace, right? You won't get everything done today. You have to take it one day at a time. Rome wasn't built in a day. And that everything will be okay. Everything will work out just as it's supposed to, as opposed to us overthinking and being former overachievers. Like, okay, we have to get it done. Why am I not here yet? Whether it's career-wise or financially or just like, where you thought you would be, because we put all these stipulations on ourselves just as humans, and women do it to themselves. And then, like, I see Apryl, and I envy Apryl because April's beautiful, and she has a daughter, and she's driving this car, and she used to work here, now she works there, and I'm trying to. Why are you trying to be like her? You don't know what she's dealing with behind closed doors. Like, just give yourself grace and know that what's for you will not pass you by. And
isn't that ironic how women do that to each other?
Yeah, especially with the dawn of social media. Because we watch you, and I don't know if women realize that. Listen, like, that's her highlight reel.
Yes,
she's showing you what she wants you to see. It's very curated.
Yes.
I mean, forget the filters and all that, but it's very curated.
Yes.
Like, I want you to see me in this dress, so I'm going to take a photo.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to show you
what happened before you put on the dress
and what I had to do to get it.
Okay.
Right? And the blisters on my feet because I wore those heels that were not like,
yes, absolutely.
So we put all
this. I like that.
We put all this pressure on ourselves.
Yes, and someone's gonna hear this, and I still feel like that's gonna go over their head. But like, let's just take time. And I think this goes in line with the pandemic and the season that we're in. Let's be easy on ourselves. Life is so fragile, and it takes sometimes losing someone or something to realize, oh my goodness, like, let me just take it back a notch.
Just dial it back.
So first of all, we all thank you for taking the time to speak to women. And I think that this is such a great platform to do something like that. But okay, let's talk about you. Let's talk about you. So you obviously, before the show, before now, people are still curious to know, well, who were you? Who are you? And how did, you come to this place? Because you're a mother. What's the titles that you carry, first of all? Let's start there.
So
your mother, your wife.
Mother, wife, sister, auntie. What else? I don't know.
A talk show host?
That, if you want to say that, I receive it.
You're a boss. You own a couple things.
Yeah, like, primarily in the last year, like, I've been an entrepreneur for the last 4 years. Prior to that, I spent 10 years in luxury retail. So I went from internal audit to a beauty advisor to a buyer. And then I spent some time in spa management at a luxury resort community. I mean, they're only like one or two, so I'm sure everybody will know. And then I did some office management in pediatrics. And so I guess that's where my love for kids comes from. And so, so my career has kind of spanned.
I was going to say, was that purpose? Like, did you go in knowing that, oh, I have a passion for retail, I have a passion for luxury, or did you just
Yeah.
kind of end up there?
I think you know what? I think I was in COB. So I was pursuing my degree, and I started in I think like my second job was in pediatrics.
Okay.
And so I was at COB, and I needed a job to pay my school
Yes.
fees. And so I applied for a job, and it was an internal audit. It just so happens that it was in retail. And so I said, oh, this is interesting. But that side of it was the numbers and the numbers and the inventory and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So that was the mundane part of it.
Yes.
So eventually, I moved into the front line. You're a beauty advisor. You have to advise people, okay, this is a skincare regimen. Here's the makeup. Here's the lip gloss, whatever, like that sort of thing. And then, so that led to traveling, because that's, yeah. And then I guess my boss, who was from the retail brands, like the cosmetic brands, recommended me for a position as a buyer. And like, women live and die in those positions. Like, they don't give those up, because you get to shop for a living.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was a lot of fun. Then that led to spa management, which was an extension of it, but more of the, the aesthetics and therapy and massages and facials and all that good stuff. And then I don't know how I got into pediatrics. Oh, so I had a daughter, and she was growing up like really fast, and she needed to start preschool. And I was on one end of the island, and school was on the other end. And it was like, okay, this was great, but I gotta go. I cannot drive 45 minutes after dropping her to school to work every day. And so, I mean, obviously you end those relationships on very good terms. And so I still visit like whenever I can. But I started in pediatrics because school was right there, and it was great benefits. And, of course you can bring your kid anytime they're sick, like whatever. But yeah, so my career spanned, and then the last full-time job I had was in marketing. I spent about 4 years in marketing, and that was an eye-opener.
Wow.
Like, I think that gave me the drive. If I see my boss now, I'm sure he'd say, oh, you tell people I was a bad boss. Bad in terms of he was very unorthodox. Like, the methods he used, there was a method to his madness. And so, and it's funny because, now that I'm an entrepreneur, it's like, there's a method to your madness.
Yes.
Like, people may not understand why I work 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning. Well, it's because I have kids and a family now.
Yes.
I cannot work during the day.
Yes.
I have to dedicate my time to them, because I'm only going to get frustrated if I'm trying to work during the daytime when they're either in virtual school, or if, they want to hang out with me. I can't be like, I can't play right now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so, yes, there's a method to my madness. So when I'm chilling during the day and everybody's working, it's like, well, how you could be out to lunch, or how you could be playing outside, or how you could, because I work at night when you're asleep and the kids are asleep. You know what I mean? So it's all. I feel like it's all been a stepping stone.
That's interesting. So for you now, and you're here, you have the show.
Yeah.
You have how many children?
I have two girls. Yeah, a 13-year-old and a 2-year-old.
I want to dive into your personal life just a little bit more.
Yeah.
You so you're married now. How long have you been married?
3 years, going on 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So prior to, we spoke about this a little bit off camera. Prior to, you were a single mother.
Yeah.
How was that?
That I believe prepares you for entrepreneurship as well, right? Because you have to get it done or die trying. And being a single mom will cause you to grow up fast.
Yes.
Like, essentially, like, you could have a community, you could have a village, but it's you.
Yeah.
Because you are responsible for like raising a human, which it's heavy.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, come, let me dress you up, but it's heavy. Like, it's more than that. It's rearing like another person. And so that, I mean, I was never like immature or whatever like that, because girls usually mature faster than boys. But it definitely caused me to, to like grow up and realize that, okay, this is my responsibility, and okay, I may have done something wrong the first time, but now it's coming full circle and I need to get it done again. And then you have to balance work because that's how you feed the children or the child. I was home with my mom, and so I stayed home with my mom until I got married. So my husband and I never lived together prior to that, and that was just a choice that I made because obviously I had a daughter. And yeah, I mean, I learned a lot, and I think it works to, there are pros and cons because being a single mom, any single mom will tell you now they get into a relationship or they get married, they're used to being strong, independent women. Now you're gonna get married and you gotta submit.
Yes. I was gonna ask you about that transition. So you go from being a single mother, and then you met Sherrod. Tell us about Sherrod.
So
when
he's gonna watch this and be like, so she asked you about Sherrod and you laugh. So we met my daughter. I wanted him to do my daughter's first birthday photos. And
y'all met through business.
Yeah, and he's gonna tell a different story. Like his version is always different. Always different. Anyway, so we met my best friend at the time was getting married, and she is very like she thinks outside the box, and she likes to do things differently. So she's like, okay, I don't want to go to like a Roger D or Andy and Craig or whatever. I saw this guy and he's up and coming and he just got back home from college, like, I don't know, a couple of years, and he does photography. And I want him to do my photography. Come look at his website. And I was like, okay. So we went to look at the website and I was like, oh, that is amazing. So but without seeing like who he was, because it was the work.
Yes.
Right? And still to this day, you won't know it's him. Yeah. It's always the work, right? Yeah. And so the work, I said, without knowing who it was, I was like, oh my God, this is great. So she was like, you think? Because my mommy, I'm thinking like, oh, it looks weird, like blah, blah, blah. And she wanted more editorial style, wedding photos and whatever. And I was like, you have to do that because it's different. And it's so like, everything was so crisp.
And I feel, I'm going to interject real quick. My opinion, Sherrod was one of the pioneering photographers of that time. Yeah. I say that time. It seems like it was just a while ago.
Right.
But
it's been
there's been so many photographers, videographers that have come forth. Yeah. From, I feel like, under his arm. Yeah. So he did lead the way a little bit. So anyway, jumping back into your work, I could imagine it was impressive because I feel like everybody knew Sherrod. Right. So you didn't know him. You had never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Never. Because, so this is the type of photography you used to. You sit and pose, you do this, whatever. Yeah. So fine. So she said, and I wasn't a maid of honor. But anyway, so we were close enough. So she said, okay, great. So we did it. He came to the house, he photographed the wedding, reception, etc. So, like, in the interim, I saw the work and I was like, oh, this would be great if he could take my daughter's first birthday photos. And so I had emailed him and he didn't respond right away. And so when I saw him at the wedding, I said, hey, I sent you an email. So, let me know or whatever, basically about the photos. So he's like, okay, great. Still didn't hear from him. This nigga.
I know, right? Anyway, business related.
This dude. So I saw him one day. I worked downtown. So I saw him one day. I was either going to, anyway, I was in transit somewhere, either to work or from work. And he was like through Charlotte Street. And I was like, hey. And because I was like, I try to get photos done. So I was like, hey. So he was like, hey. So I'm like, I'm waiting for you to tell me about the photos. Like, what are we doing? So he's like, I can message you. MSN Messenger was a thing.
It was.
That's showing my age? Oh my goodness. Anyway, so he messaged me and he was like, okay, these are my rates, la 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 la. So we met, cool. And like my Layla's dad and I wanted her first birthday photos to be together with both parents. So we did it. Like he met with us to discuss it, cool, and then we did the photo shoot and it was great. And then after that, like obviously he had to communicate with me with regards to like the gallery and the photos and whatever, and we still have those photos.
Wow.
And it's so funny. So, and in
So
hindsight,
thinking nothing of it.
no.
You did not know.
Because two opposite ends of the spectrum.
You didn't say it's kind of cute. Nothing.
No, I didn't say that. No. I mean, I felt like it was interesting because he was so different from all the other guys that were like, interested or like, that you see around. Either they're popular or whatever. And he's not he does not take that title at all. Like he
chill.
don't, very chill and all about his work.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, that's interesting. Like someone who's ambitious and like, no nonsense to a certain extent, but passionate about what he does. And so I felt that way because at that point in my career, I was passionate about what I was doing as well. So it was like almost like like-minded. Yeah, so it was great. We knew some of the same people, it turns out, and so that worked out. And then we just kind of went from there. And so,
So who made the first move?
Him.
He made the first move.
Yes. April.
Because it would be no other way.
I mean,
you never know. Some ladies are out here pulling strings.
I mean,
so he made the first move.
Actually, I can't remember.
I want to get in. You know why I ask you all this? Because it is Mother's Day. We know that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know, how was dating as a single mother?
Girl.
So you
Let
met
me tell
this
you.
guy.
Yeah. And I neglected to mention that he said to me, he told his friends he would never date somebody with a child. Never. And he'll tell you that.
Wow.
He said that because back in the day, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's the same now. Like it can be drama. Because you don't know if there are still feelings invested. The other person might be jealous.
Yes.
Why you are your boyfriend now? Like who could found my child and blah blah blah. But we definitely didn't have any meetings with all three of us, meaning me, him, the child. The first meeting was the photo shoot, and that was for obvious reasons. But like he didn't really meet Layla until like maybe a year or like a year.
That was intentional.
Yeah, of course.
I have the same
for
rules.
sure.
Yeah.
So because I could always introduce you to her, but let's make sure that we go somewhere first.
Absolutely.
And
that's point number one. Moms.
Yeah,
single
for
moms.
sure. Yeah. So it was interesting because I was career driven, but I was always tired because this motherhood thing was new to me, and especially when she was in school. Let me tell you, some nights I would. So it's wake up, prep, drop off, go to work, come home. And like, I would come home then, get her sorted, dinner, whatever, and I would fall asleep. And I would say, hey, just checking in. I'd call you back when when Layla goes to bed. And oh yeah, I wouldn't go back because I fell asleep. I'm tired.
Yes.
I'm up for 18 hours out of 24.
Yes.
I mean, give or take, right? But I was tired. It's a lot of juggling.
It is. I love this conversation because I'm there now.
Yeah.
And so I actually get that. Like
But the right person will understand.
And that's why I love this conversation because you're telling the story from looking back now. Right. You got through that. Yeah. And I'm standing in that. And I know some other moms are standing in that. Yeah. Like, believe it or not, dating is a task.
I don't know how y'all do that in COVID.
It's a task even. So like there's time you have to make for another person in between making time for your child and work and yourself.
And your child comes first.
Exactly.
I mean, you come first.
Yes.
But before him.
Right. Exactly.
Like your child comes first.
So he was patient with you.
He was. I mean, don't get me wrong. He would get frustrated as well, but he understood, especially when the time came where he interacted with her. Yeah. So he understood.
And he valued it more, too.
Yeah, because if you're this dedicated to your own, then what's to come if we decide we're going to get married? Then that means you will even be that more.
Yeah. And I want to go back to what you said just now. He said that he would never date a woman with a child. Okay. That's so interesting because I just love the word never. Yeah. So I've learned that never say never.
Correct.
It's a quote people say. I don't think people believe it. There are so many young people, I feel like, that always say, I would never. I told you in our other interview that, there are moms who say, I'll never have a child.
Right.
I'll never. I just don't think I can or will or won't. And then there are men who say, I'd never date a woman with a child. Well, I have seen people change.
Oh, yeah.
Life has a way. As a matter of fact, the same thing you said you would never do, watch how life just...
You're just eating it. You're eating your words. Like, just watch it.
So that's tidbit number 2 for the moms, to know that don't let all the things of society pressure you into thinking define you. And you're so young. There's so much time. There are people going to change their mind, all that. So yes. Okay.
For sure.
So now we have so many things to jump into.
I know. Lord, I hope we have
enough time, I know. But so let's talk a little bit about motherhood and what that means to you, and where you've been. So you dated, you were able to get through being a single mom. You stepped into now being a married woman with 2 daughters.
Yeah. Because
so
Riley,
speak about that part of motherhood.
So Riley came along when Layla was 11. So a gap. So you're talking about getting married, having my first child at 28, getting married at 37, being married for 6 months and getting then pregnant and having a child a year later. And being newlyweds, and then having a blended family, and then it's funny. We always said that he would be the entrepreneur and I would work. I would work the 9 to 5, and the exact opposite happened. So tell me, God doesn't have a sense of humor, because we're both entrepreneurs. And so motherhood has been a journey. It's taught me a lot. It's taught me everything. I think it's brought me to this point where I am because it's taught me everything that I've known. I don't even know what I did before I had kids. Like, what did I do? Go to the movies? I
know, right? Yeah. Everything changes so fast.
And very fast. Yeah. Right? Because that's you. But in the process, I learned not to lose myself. So, like we spoke earlier, put on the pretty dress. Go sit with yourself and have something to eat, or take me time. Don't be so consumed by everything. Don't be consumed by your partner's life, because I found that was that happened during a portion of our relationship, because he was the entrepreneur and I was supporting him. And support can take on a lot of different forms, and it was like, okay, I feel like I'm losing myself in this. I need to dial it back, and you know what I mean? So you always have to find yourself as well. Like, know how to center yourself, support yourself with a good community, and then just kind of tune out the noise and just go for it,
So you, I think you have, you talked about a support system. For you, what has your support system been? Because I know you can't do it by yourself. So what has your support system consisted of?
I've taken like 1 or 2. I've taken a lot of trips by myself. Work of course, but then you get some play in. I listen to a lot of music. I read. I don't watch a lot of TV. I try to do as much reading as I can. I listen to podcasts. I've done my share of like webinars, especially during COVID.
Who do you like to listen to?
Well, I have my favorite like social media influencers, and people that just have mastered just social media marketing websites. So I'd just scroll through, or I'd probably Google most recent podcasts, or like people who are like master classes or whatever. So in a lot of cases, like, we don't even know these people.
Yeah.
Similarly, because similarly, a woman I encountered the other day actually, said like she was clicking through Instagram and ended up on my YouTube channel. And I was like, she's like, you're doing such a great job. And I'm like, oh gosh. But so like you never know.
Oh,
Like
that's so true.
people, the internet is so, there are all
Wide,
these
yes.
people on
Yes,
it. So
absolutely.
it's like, so I don't listen to people in particular, but more good content, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
That does. That does.
Yeah.
What do you think women today need right now? After speaking to 41 women too, what do we need? You spoke about grace.
Yeah, I spoke about
being kind to
giving,
yourself.
giving ourselves grace. I think we need support, and whatever that looks like. So if it's support from your village, if it's support meaning you do therapy, because that's taboo in our society as well. I mean, everywhere, right? Like therapy. What you need therapy for? Like you're almost ridiculed if that's something that you decide to do. I definitely think we need support. I think we need each other. And on the premise that you don't have a partner, I think that we have a tendency, we look for what we lack in a partner. So I'm single, right? Oh, I need a boyfriend. What you need a boyfriend for? I mean, outside of the obvious reasons, but like you need a boyfriend. Most women think they need a man to complete them. No, you don't. Or a partner. Just for argument's sake, you need a partner to complete you. No, you don't. You need to learn. You need to take the time to learn yourself. You need to complete yourself, because whenever you find that person, you are either gonna help or hurt that person, right? What you're not, the incomplete areas, you're going to expect that from them, and it's unfair for you to impose that on them. Like you're expecting them to not do things because you're expecting them to make you happy. And Michelle Obama said it in her book Becoming, or on the documentary, and she talked about how she would be with the girls, and like Barack was going to the gym, and she's like, wait, but I'm with the girls, I would need you to be with the girls. And he's like, no, I go into the gym. And it wasn't like I going out with the boys, it's I'm going to the gym.
Yeah.
And she said that was so, it made her upset, because like you live in your life and I stuck with the kids. And not that this ain't a family that don't have help, right? But she said she realized at that point, like she everything was about them, and you can't pour from an empty cup.
This is really critical for particularly married couples, and not that I know, because I know friends who are married and that kind of thing, and it's so important. I find this a lot, where especially when you end up having kids, that the man still lives his life.
Yeah, absolutely.
He still gets to do, nothing changes for him.
In fact, if anything I learned during marriage, you have to ask for what you want. I mean, that's even in the Bible. Mm-hmm. If you don't ask for it, you won't get it. If you don't knock, the door will not open. Like you just hi, I need you to change your Pampers, please. Mm-hmm.
And by the way, you know what's a part 2 to that? Mm-hmm. Actually letting him do it. Right. because you know what I find?
No, you don't do it like that.
I find a lot of women, and I've seen this, they'll say, I want him to do all this stuff, and then she'll actually say, you don't do anything, and then he'll step in and say, okay, I want to do this. He might do laundry or something. He might do, all hell breaks loose, because now he's not doing it the way you do. Just move. And then now you didn't allow him to do it, and so you're back at square one doing it.
Still doing it.
And it's just best,
So maybe he's not going to put the Vaseline on. Or maybe he's not going to put any Vaseline on. The child will not die.
No.
I promise you. They'll be fine. So the next time the changing has to happen, then you put the Vaseline on. I promise you, it'll be okay.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's a second child thing, where like after the first child, you kind of freak out. You have to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. Second child, you're like, okay, I didn't put Vaseline on that time.
I was just going to say, well, Layla's the first child, so...
So we dotted all our now it's still good.
Exactly.
Like the child is surviving, everybody's breathing. But it's not as stressful. It's you don't put so much pressure on yourself, especially now we're in a pancake. Like you have to. Every morning I'm just happy to be able to wake up, because you can't take that for granted.
You know what I want to ask you? Do you think that women will ever get to the point where we truly can love on each other
I
genuinely.
I thought you were gonna say like support each other.
Well, same thing.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I hope so.
Where do you think that comes from? Where we have a tough time connecting?
I think it's like, well, it could. Some people might say it's a black crab syndrome, where it stems from just this is what black people do. Like they don't, they'll try and pull you down. You could do good, but just not better than me. And so,
but why are women like that in particular? Because men will compete with each other.
Like on the basketball court.
Yeah.
Or in a game.
High five each other right after.
But women, I don't know. And I feel like men are more competitive, supposedly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Women,
I'm trying to figure out
why is she wearing that? But why I have to be that pretty? Miss, all she do is throw water on it. I mean, you too can have curly hair if you want. It's okay. Like, it's okay.
Maybe because there's so much versatility in being a woman that we try to keep up with everyone else's versatility.
But this is the problem. Why are you trying to keep up? This is like, I don't want to say like this is your lane, stay in it. But this is how you were made. These are your strengths. This is your weakness, or these are your weaknesses. Identify them, and you either get better or just know that this is where you're at and accept it. And so I can't do that. I can't speak the way Apryl does. No, I didn't have the work experience she had. Like, she might have worked, I don't know, at NBC. She might have worked wherever. Oh, why she have to carry herself like that? Why she have to dress so well? What I find is that women, they see the women that are haters. I mean, whatever that is. I feel like they see something in you that they once wanted or want currently, and they just don't know how to get there. So my thing is, instead of I mean, it's great to have that ambition and great to see, like, okay, well, I'd like to dress well, or I'd like to go shopping and find things that she finds. Why don't you just embrace that and just say, hey, Apryl, I saw that da-da-da-da-da. And yeah, you might buck up on the one who says, or who may not answer you, or who may be mean and say, don't ask me nothing or whatever. But what are the chances that she'd say, girl, I got this from the thrift store, okay?
Yeah.
Because there are those women. I mean, women reach out to me all the time and they say, hey, Tonya, where did you get this? Or how did you do that? Or blah, 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 blah. And you tell them, what is it gonna profit me to just keep that information to myself? The more I give, the more I get. Absolutely. I mean, that's what I was taught. Absolutely. So, like, what is it gonna hurt you to share information, or just how you did something, or where you got something from, or how did you learn this? Is this a trick? Like, what inspires you to do this? Like, I'm looking to get into doing live sessions. Like, how did you get into it? 9 times out of 10, you don't know how anyway. Yeah. You only can share what you know,
And I'll tell you, the day that we begin to connect like that will be a phenomenal day on this earth. Yeah. I think when women can come together, first of all, I think it'll allow us to find better partners, find better relationships. In general, it's just going to change the dynamic of everything.
Yeah, I think it's happening. I think there's a shift happening. Some people are going to get it. Some women are going to get it and some won't. And eventually, eventually they'll come over, or eventually they'll get it. But there are also those women who just feel like, okay, well, I'm qualified to do it and she's not. Well, a piece of paper doesn't, because you could be street smart, you could be book smart and say, okay, well, I went to school to do this. But somebody who has the experience can just come along and like sweep you right out the water.
So true.
Like, just blow you away.
Absolutely.
And it's almost like you didn't have the experience though, and you didn't stay relevant. So
and that's okay.
And that's okay.
It's okay. That's the thing.
That's the thing about it.
So first, I see everybody like they're giving us the time, which I'm really upset about, because I feel like we were just getting started.
We probably have to do a part 2.
We have to do a part 2. Yeah. But Tonya, from me and the 41 women,
now it's probably now it's 50.
I know.
Sure
by
it's
the time
50.
This interview airs, it'll be so much more. You wrapped up at least about 4 interviews today, I think.
For sure.
So anyway, the point is that we thank you.
Thank you.
We celebrate all moms today. And of course, forevermore. And hopefully this conversation changes some type of dynamic in terms of us as moms and as women working together to get somewhere, right?
Absolutely. I will never forget. I messaged April and I'm like, April, hi, and she was like, oh my God, I read the email, I read the message, and
in my voice.
Oh my God, I'm so happy you reached out to me. Do you know I started a mom community? Blah 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 blah. I was like, oh, this was awesome. I'm so glad I followed my intuition and contacted you.
I was excited about that. No one says, hey, can we interview the interviewer? So I love that. Thank you.
No, that's absolutely. And I feel like everybody has a story. So like, who better to tell the story than the storyteller?
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
So happy Mother's Day in advance. Because this will be your second?
Yes, ma'am. I'm so happy about that.
Yeah.
It's a humbling feeling.
It's funny because we still work on Mother's Day.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do.
No days off.
We're going to work on that.
Yeah.
But thank you all. I don't know if I should be closing out now or you.
Yeah, no, you. This is your show.
Thank you all for tuning in. You all, this has been so exciting. There's going to be more episodes to come in second season now?
Well, it's still our first season.
Okay, excellent. So you all tune in to Let's Chat with Tonya Lightbourne, and hopefully, you never know, I might stop by again.
Woohoo! We welcome you. We totally welcome you.
See you guys.
Take care. Hey guys, you made it to the end of our video. If you'd like to reach out, email us at letschat@TonyaWilliamsLightbourne.com. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe for more exciting sessions. Cheers!